of this motion, and the motion reads, for all in the House, that in the opinion of this House, the Government of Ontario should freeze rent in 2027 and 28 on all rent control homes. The Premier and his government hate renters. It's become evidently clear in all their policies, and even as I listen to the members speak about how they want to help renters but offer no solutions, here we are again. The Premier has failed Ontario renters when he removed rent control protections for many new units, first occupied after November 2018, exposing millions of renters to unlimited rent hikes. The Premier failed renters when he allowed the Landlord-Tenant Board to be mired in delays, leaving tenants waiting for justice while uncertainty and abuse continued. He failed renters by refusing to build deeply affordable and non-market housing. The Premier has failed renters by tolerating rent evictions, dem-evictions, and bad faith evictions that uproot families and destabilize neighborhoods. He fails renters by prioritizing speculation and developer interest over the very basic needs of those who are looking to secure housing. The government's housing crisis is breaking Ontarians. Seniors on fixed income are rationing medication to cover rent. Young people are postponing their futures because they cannot save for an education, a business, or even a first home. Newcomers who come here seeking opportunity are finding doors closed by impossible rents. Workers who keep our cities alive, nurses, teachers, transit operators, restaurant staff, construction workers, retail workers, personal support workers, healthcare workers are being driven out of our cities and further away from the communities that they want to serve. This is not simply a housing crisis, Speaker. This is a cost of living crisis. It's a public health crisis. It's an economic productivity crisis, and it's being made worse generationally. And it's a crisis that's being made worse because of political choices, Speaker. Housing is a human right. It's the foundation of stability, health, safety, and opportunity. High rents impact members of every community in every riding. My office is hearing daily from single moms, seniors, students, and working people and families that they are having to choose between the basic necessities such as groceries and rent. This government froze rents during COVID-19 during the pandemic, and that was the right thing to do because they rose to meet the moment. And I applaud you for that. I applauded you when I was there at City Council and heard the news. People are struggling and out of work then, and they were unable to pay, and you recognize that. Now we are in another very difficult economic situation. The moment has appeared once again. People are out of work in Ontario. Layoffs are taking place in the thousands. Groceries are sky high, and the last thing renters should be worrying about is trying to keep up with rising housing costs, especially when you know that housing rise in costs is coming in June. This is the only instrument, the only tool right now before the House where you can actually stop a rent freeze.
Yeah, it's okay.
Start the rent freeze. Sorry, my apologies, Speaker. Rents in Ontario have risen 54.5%, Speaker, over a 10-year period. This government has been in power for 8 of those years. And it is higher now than ever, than even if you only kept up with the rate of inflation. It is time, Speaker, for a rent freeze. 1.7 million households in Ontario rent their homes. That means millions of people are directly exposed when rents grow faster than their wages. Every guideline increase, every loophole, every exemption, and every above guideline pressure is felt at the kitchen table. And according to CMHC, in the GTA, the average worker spends about 42% of their after-tax income to rent a one-bedroom apartment. 42%. And this is not just a statistic, Speaker. When I'm talking about this motion, I'm talking about how this would impact my constituents. And I think of Martina, a single mom who came to my office absolutely broken down in tears because her landlord-tenant board eviction hearing was the very next day. She worked full-time as a cleaner while caring for her young son. Between daycare payments, food, clothes for her child, and transit to the job, she had fallen behind rent. She worked so hard, followed the rules, and she couldn't keep up. She had to go to the rent bank to get a bailout. People like Martina need their rent frozen, and they need it frozen now. They need an opportunity to get back on their feet. This rent freeze would mean the world to her and the world to your renters and your communities as well. I urge every member in this chamber to think about the hardworking renters in your riding who would benefit from a 2-year rent freeze. Please grow a heart and support this motion.